Sega. Since Arcane and Castlevania became a thing, it's been easy to forget that video game adaptations haven't always worked out, especially in the movies. Hell, the genre seemed downright cursed for a long time. They fared a lot better in TV, but in movies, forget about it. The bar's been set so low that those rare occasions when we get one that's at least diverting enough to not be a complete disaster felt like a big win. But then a couple years ago, a trailer dropped for a little movie called Sonic the Hedgehog. And it looked horrifying. We were all there, we don't have to go through that again. The short version is, it was a catastrophe in the making. Until something very strange happened. After the fans inevitably backlashed against it, the filmmakers didn't get defensive. They didn't attack the fans or accuse them of being istophobic man-babies or whatever. Instead, they took their medicine like adults, they listened to the criticism, they delayed the movie, fixed the problems the fans had with it, they didn't try to turn it into something it's not, they didn't focus it on pointless new characters who weren't in the games, minus the human characters, but what are you gonna do? They didn't act embarrassed to be making a video game movie, they embraced it. The result was a box office hit, arguably the best video game movie we've seen, and now we have a sequel. A hotly anticipated sequel. I was excited to see this, and with good reason. And to think, all that goodness resulted from one horribly botched character design. Now, the first movie, as good as it was, did give the impression that a lot of the nods to the games were put in there after the course correction. Like the whole sequence at the beginning that looked exactly like the first level of the game, I'd bet money that wasn't in there originally. But I gave them a lot of credit because they, eventually, went all in on making sure they got it right. And now that they were past the learning curve, they seemed to know what they needed to do right from the jump this time. They did their homework, they went over all the stuff that made Sonic a popular character in the first place, and were like, hey, there's a cool level from the games? Let's put that in the movie. There's a fun villain from the cartoons? Let's put that in the movie. Oh, there's an awesome power-up from the comics? Let's put that in there too! There are tons and tons and tons of nods and references and Easter eggs in this thing that were paying homage to all the Sonic media out there, and that was just the stuff I noticed. I know for sure there were a bunch of them in there that I didn't even pick up on. So in that aspect alone, I'm very happy to say Sonic 2 does not fall victim to sequelitis. This is one of those rare sequels that actually improves on the first one. They didn't try to get too fancy, they just took what worked about the first movie and gave it a shot of adrenaline. The action scenes are bigger and more exciting, Tails felt damn near perfect, Knuckles was a badass, more on him in a minute, and the climax might just have been the most genuine depiction of a video game boss fight that I've ever seen in one of these things. And it's not just that stuff that's good. Thankfully, they were careful not to lose the plot while they were appeasing fans of the side-scrolling Sega Genesis game about a cartoon hedgehog. The story actually has a lot of heart. I don't want to spoil anything, but if the first movie was about Sonic making friends, then this movie is about Sonic making a family. Family is a big theme running through the whole thing. And there are some surprisingly sweet moments in there, with Sonic and Tails, and with his human buddies too. So yeah, James Marsden and co are still in there, and if anything tripped the movie up, that would have been it. Because outside of Robotnik, what do we need the humans for, right? Well, I guess you couldn't get rid of them completely, but there is noticeably less of them this time. I think the producers got the message. That said, there's a subplot in Hawaii involving most of the humans at James Marsden's sister-in-law's wedding that you probably could have excised completely. This whole plot went at least 15 minutes longer than it needed to. Really, you could have cut the entire thing and no one would have blinked. I think we all know why they didn't, and once you see the movie you'll understand, but I'll give them this. Even though this entire part felt unnecessarily tacked on, in the end, I didn't mind it being in there because all the human cast members were in on the joke. Clearly they knew, and the producers knew, that nobody's seeing the movie for them. So the attitude was, let's just have some harmless fun, get a few laughs, not overstay our welcome, and then get back to Sonic and his crew. And kudos to them, it worked out pretty well. Actually, the Hawaii stuff is where some of the better jokes in the movie are, so I ended up being okay with this. The Hawaii plot was not needed, but it was inoffensive. The human characters were there to help Sonic when he needed them, and otherwise, we stayed focused on Sonic and Tails and Knuckles and Robotnik. And when it's on those guys, the movie doesn't miss a beat. Sonic is as lovable as ever, and you see a few different sides to him here. He grows up a little bit in this one, he shows a little more emotion, and it all works. The one exception maybe being this weird impromptu dance number that didn't really make sense story-wise, and came off like the only reason it was there was so they could try to outdo the Jim Carrey dance number in the first movie. I don't know if they needed that, but at least it's not for nothing, and it sets up a big payoff later when they go toe-to-toe with Robotnik. And speaking of whom, Robotnik is so much fun in this movie. Holy moly, does Jim Carrey absolutely run away with this whole damn thing. I love this Jim Carrey. The guy is just having a blast embracing the sheer zaniness of this character. This is classic Jim Carrey before he tried to get all serious and dull. As fun as the CG is, it gets outdone by his body language and facial expressions and, I'm guessing, all the improv he did on set. I'll be damned if Dr. Robotnik isn't the best thing about the whole movie, bar none. And the new additions are pretty damn good too. Tails and Knuckles, they nailed the character designs. I couldn't think of a single thing wrong with Tails. He was cute and charming. Him and Sonic just hit it off instantly. You totally buy that friendship. Knuckles is a little weird though, mostly because of the voice. Idris Elba's a great actor, but the man's voice is so frightening and imposing. There's a reason why he voiced Shere Khan in the Jungle Book, okay? And sure, Knuckles is an antagonist here, but he's still a cute little cartoon animal. It was just very awkward hearing such a terrifying voice coming out of this guy. Elba adjusted as the movie went along, and by the end he was kind of making it work. It just took a little while to get there. As a character though, no complaints. Knuckles was cool, the jokes with him land well, and the big Sonic vs. Knuckles fight was awesome. It's a ton of fun. Hell, this whole movie is a ton of fun. This is a movie that loves that it's based on a video game, and it also happens to be a really good movie in its own right. It's a great family movie. You can take the kids to it. They may not appreciate all the Easter eggs in there, but if you played the games when you were a kid, you definitely will. Also, stay for the credits. There's an end credits scene that they sequel bait us with, and when I saw that, I got excited all over again. If it's as good as this was, then bring on Sonic 3, damn it. Let's keep this train rolling. Holy crap, you guys. The video game movie curse has finally been broken. It took a long damn time, but someone in Hollywood has officially worked out the formula for how to do these things right, and anyone who tries to make one in the future should use Sonic and Sonic 2 as a blueprint. The landscape for video game movies has always been pretty bleak. More often than not, they're hot garbage. Once in a while, we'll get one that's at least fun or memeable, even if it's not particularly good, but I think this is the first time that we've had not just a video game movie, but a video game movie series that is legitimately great. Gotta go fast! Straight to the theater to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you thought about Sonic 2 in the comments. And while you're here, ding that bell icon and follow my social media so you can always be notified when I upload new stuff. We're doing weekly Moon Knight streams right now, so subscribe to the live streaming channel for those. And most importantly, don't forget to thumbs up the video, share, subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed, because what really deserves to have a pissed off alien with spikes on its knuckles trying to punch his brains out while Jim Carrey tries to crush him with a giant egg-shaped robot is the YouTube algorithm. That's all I got for now, but I'll be back with more very soon. So stay tuned for that, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you next time.